Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tab. Glad you made it today. Wanted to talk to you about the value of the appeal process. The appeal process is a huge benefit in itself, and I wanted to share a few things with how the appeal process works, all the different options or tracks that you have, and basically kind of lay it out for you in a dollars and cents sort of way. I mean, if you miss out on filing your appeals, you could potentially lose out in the example I'm going to give, $42,000, right? It could be higher, could be lower, depending on the individual circumstances and what type of claim you're filing and all that stuff. But if that's something you're interested in, please hit that thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff, comment below. I have went through the majority of these myself, and I know many people who have as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. You file your claim, right? So another money in your pocket piece here real quick, and there's never enough information on this, in my opinion. The intent to file, ITF, intent to file. The intent to file is golden. If you're even thinking about filing a claim, even if you're not thinking about filing a claim today, you might be thinking about one 10 months from now. So there's no harm in filing what's called an intent to file with the VA. If you think you're going to file something coming up, put that form in. It's a one-page form, takes you 20 seconds to complete, and you submit that to the VA, and essentially you're telling the VA, look, I'm planning on filing a claim within the next 12 months. And as long as you file that within the next 12 months, they will preserve that intent to file filing date as your effective date. So with that being said, you file an intent to file. 10 months later, you file your claim. It's within the 12-month period. And then let's just say it takes them 10 months to complete your claim. That's 20 months of back pay that you would get because you filed that intent to file. Okay, so that preserves that effective date. Very important. So now you get your decision back from the VA. Let's say that you don't agree with it, right? You could not agree with, maybe they denied you service connection. Maybe they gave you a 0%. Maybe they gave you a 10% or 20%. And you think, because you looked at the schedule of ratings, that you should be rated at a 30 or a 50 or whatever the case is. So you can disagree in many different avenues with that. And then you will have the opportunity, depending on the circumstances of your specific appeal and what you're appealing, you have different tracks that you can go that make the most sense. So with that, the first one would be the higher level review. Higher level review is just like it sounds. It's going to go to a senior reviewer, somebody who's been there longer. So a situation could be you have somebody new who is a rater, and they get your claim and they rate it wrong. And let's just pretend that they missed something from the C&P examiner, and you nailed it in the C&P exam. You know that you submitted everything that you needed to submit for, an example, a 50% rating, and that 50% rating that you thought you were going to get came back as a 30%, and you're baffled, right? Everything should be in the file. Maybe that new rater who's been at the VA in that position for a few months screwed it up. And you just need another set of eyes to comb through it and make sure that they give you that appropriate rating. You would then, in this case, if you know you've already submitted everything that clearly points to a 50% because you know the schedule of ratings, you would do that higher level review because you cannot submit additional evidence with a higher level review. Okay? So you're just having a person who's more senior look into your file and then make a determination. Now, let's say that maybe it was borderline. You weren't quite sure if you had enough evidence or not. Well, then, instead of a higher level review, you could do option number 2. Option number 2 would be a supplemental claim. Sounds a little quirky because it's a claim. Sounds like, claim. It's just an additional form, but you're submitting additional evidence. And that's making it a supplemental claim. So this is one that you would submit new evidence, helping your case. Maybe you decided, maybe I do need to go get that nexus letter from my doctor. Maybe they gave me a non-service connected for that, so I need to go get that nexus letter from my doctor and maybe some buddy statements or whatever, and submit that stuff and do a supplemental claim. Okay. The next thing would be let's say that you've submitted everything you could, right? And there's a lot of lay evidence, right? Maybe you don't have anything that's concrete showing that your condition's in service. So you got a bunch of buddy statements, a bunch of lay evidence, your nexus letter from your doctor, that type of stuff, your own statement, those types of things, and they still denied you. Maybe you're looking for example, the Veterans Law Judge at the Board of Veterans Appeals to take a look at it under the legal magnifying glass and make sure that all of the legality aspects of deciding a claim are taken into account, such as utilizing lay evidence as true evidence to your claim, and if evidence is for you and against you in an equal fashion, they're supposed to rule in your favor. Now, there's 3 options that can come from the Board of Appeals, and those options would be either you can, when you go to file your appeal and you select Board of Veterans Appeals, you can either do what's called a direct review, which is essentially them just looking at everything in your file. So same kind of concept as the first way, but this is with the Veterans Law Judge. The second way would be that you could submit new evidence. So kind of like a supplemental claim, only this again is going to the Board of Veterans Appeals. So very, very different. But you could submit that new evidence there, which is helpful. And I'm a fan of, by the way. If you're going to go that route, you might as well send something, anything. What constitutes new evidence, you might ask? It's really anything. It could be an additional letter from a spouse. It could be, another nexus letter from a doctor. It doesn't need to be, super heavy, evidence. It doesn't need to be, let me go back to the doctor and get another, round of tests and diagnosis and all this type of stuff. It could really just be a letter. So anything constitutes new evidence. The third way with the Board of Appeals, when you're requesting a Board of Appeals, so the first 2, direct review, submitting new evidence would be number 2. The number 3 way is requesting a hearing. So you can request them to actually hold a hearing and you would be present. And in that, right now the average is about 2 years or so for them to get through that. And you have 3 options for the hearing. So you can do a virtual hearing from your home. They've been offering that for a little while now. You could do a video conference where you have to travel to your nearest VA facility and that they'll host those out of. And usually it's like a regional center, so you would go there and do your hearing there. They have a room and a big monitor and all that good stuff. And then your third way is in person. You can go to Washington, D.C. and go to them. All of that expense is out of your own pocket, though, so just kind of a side note on that. Now, when it comes to putting all of this stuff together, it really depends on the circumstances surrounding your claim and what it's being denied for when you go to file these appeals. Now, you may ask, well, what if I go through all of these different stages of appeal, higher level review, supplemental claim, Board of Appeals, and they still come back denying me? You could actually appeal the Board of Veterans Appeals decision, and that appeal goes to the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. So the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims is where that appeal would go. Now, the dollars, right? The dollars and cents. As long as you we'll use the filing your intent to file. You file your intent to file. You file your claim. That claim then comes back, you disagree, you file your appeal, you go through the process. Let's say that you ended up going through a 6-month appeal on a supplemental claim, and then that decision came back and you pushed it to the Board of Appeals, and let's say that just took 2 years, we'll just say. So you got 6 months for your intent to file, you got 6 months for the regular VA processing time frame, we'll just use 6 months for the first appeal, and then another 2 years. If your claim got awarded at the Board of Veterans Appeals for $1,000 difference in pay, let's just say that it was going from $600 a month to now they've granted you these new whatevers, and it took you to $1,600 a month, now you have $1,000 extra per month because you've stuck to all of your timelines and you filed appeals appropriately when you were supposed to and you didn't miss any time frames. If they rule in your favor, that $1,000 swing, they're going to back pay you 42 months at $1,000 a month. That's $4,000 a month. I mean, $42,000 in total at that $1,000 per month. Huge, right? Now, another benefit besides the dollar figure, which is huge, right? So the dollar figure in itself is enough reason to make sure that you're following all this appeal stuff. You filed a claim for a reason, follow it up. The other reason why is, let's say in this example, it took 42 months. Well, that 42 months, once they actually ruled in your favor, now they've back paid you to your effective date 42 months prior, which means now you've had that specific condition or conditions at that rating percentage for that amount of time, which then buys into the 5-year rule, 10-year, 20-year, all of that stuff. So it's front loading you, right? So it's getting you closer to the finish line, we'll say, as far as the different protections and stuff are concerned. So with that, we'll go ahead and end it there. Went a little longer than I expected, but there's a lot of different pieces to the review process and appeals. So hope you got some value out of this. Again, hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks again and have a great one. Remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.